Can you beat 4 players slay the Spire solo? To attempt this challenge, I downloaded the SoloOne mod. This allows you to host a multiplayer lobby solo with any number of player scaling. So we're selecting the extreme 4-player difficulty, and now we can host a multiplayer lobby solo, and it'll have the usual scaling rules. So what are we going up against here? Enemy health will start at 4.4 times and scale up to over 5 times for the Act 3 boss. Block scaling follows the same formula, so the queen will be blocking for over 100 a turn. And finally, there are various other buffs enemies will get, like plating or artifact, that quickly scale up when you're playing 4-player. So I had to figure out a way to scale fast enough to take out these massive health pools, especially early on. I wanted to keep this legit as possible, but I also didn't want to spend all weekend resetting, so as long as it's possible to get it from Niao's Blessing, I will allow it. For example, my first idea was double transforming into 2 hangs, which will allow us to scale very quickly. So if I got the transform 2 option, I would just remove the 2 cards I transformed to and then add 2 hangs instead. I think there are 81 viable transform targets, so that makes this a 1 in 6,600 odds for one attempt at this. The hangs were working pretty well getting through the early floors. We were able to scale up to 160 damage pretty quickly by floor 3, but I quickly realized this plan had some problems, namely against any sort of AoE fights. Our first attempt was ended on floor 6 against the triple corpse slugs. Okay, but what if we get through Act 1 without going against triple corpse slugs? How far do we get then? We make it past the 900 health soulfish and into Act 2 for the first time, and we reach our second hurdle, the exoskeletons. These guys limit your damage to 9 per attack, and it's an AoE fight. It's working against us both ways, so we stood no chance here. All of my following attempts also died to AoE fights in Act 1. We lost to the raiders and then the rats, so I knew we had to go back to the drawing board. What if we pivot to the silent, who has some of the best block scaling in the game, and then start with the best card in the game in our deck? I'm of course talking about Rolling Boulder. This card does infinite damage to all enemies as long as that boulder keeps rolling. We're still following our self-imposed rules here. I know it's possible to get rare colorless cards from lead paperweight. I can't find the exact odds on the wiki, so I'm blindly trusting this Reddit comment that says it's 1.5%, but please correct me if that's not right. Assuming each card has a 1.5% chance and there's 21 possible rare colorless cards, that gives us 1 in 1,400 chance per card, and there's 2 cards. That gives us 1 in 700 every time you click the lead paperweight to get a rolling boulder start. I'll be cutting a decent amount of footage when a fight is already solved. It's not the most exciting thing seeing a boulder fall from the sky 20 times. We pick up a footwork from the first card reward, and then a dodge and roll from the first shop. These 2 cards are key to our strategy here. We're gonna try to scale up our block as much as possible while this rolling boulder does all of our offensive work. We take a little damage in the Nibbit fight, getting our rolling boulder in play, which will be a common theme to start this run, and then we pick up the anticipate. We won't really be playing attacks. Our strikes do basically nothing, so anticipate plus a lot of blocking skills sounded pretty good to me. And then we get an upgrade. Could have randomly transformed, but any transforms into attacks basically aren't going to do much for us. So we get our footwork upgraded early. Takes us 9 turns to get through the 240 health fuzzy worm crawler, but we make it out, only losing 4 health when we played the rolling boulder. We pick up a blur, which works great with footwork and the dodge and roll. We'll be able to preserve block turn to turn now. And we get a lantern for extra energy on our 7 card turn 1s. And we upgrade neutralize for an extra turn of weaken. We lose a bit of health again here, getting rolling boulder in play, but not a massive loss. Another 9-turn kill finishes off the slimes. We skip the noxious fumes. It's another way to slowly scale damage, but it's even slower than our rolling boulder. We skip that and we get the boulder upgraded. Thanks to dodge and roll, we're able to get rolling boulder in play without losing health for the first time this run. We finish with a clean vine shambler fight, and we're offered a second footwork. We're definitely taking here. Boulder in play turn 1 here. And then we spend a bit of health here to get the footwork in play. The rest of the fight is mostly clean, except this one draw with 4 strikes and anticipate. So we take a little more chip damage. We have enough block to survive the 15 strangle from the strangler. And we get a backflip, which is another nice block option, which also draws for us. I make a slightly risky decision here, deciding to upgrade the footwork going into the 1000 health ceremonial beast, but I was already committed to using the dupe pot to get through this fight, so we can double play our rolling boulder to double our damage scaling. The mod I'm using for multiplayer scaling isn't perfect. If you see, the ceremonial beast has 150 what's called plow, which is what stuns it when you get it under that threshold. For 4-player, it's supposed to be multiplied by 4.4. So I realize that now. I checked the wiki real quick to confirm, but 4.4 times 150 is 660. So I add 510 to the plow value to make it an accurate 4-player fight. I don't have quite enough block at this point to survive long enough for it to get under that 150 threshold, so I thought this was fair because it's accurate to what it actually would be in 4-player now. With 2 boulders raining from the sky, we're able to get it under the 660 health thresholds, and with 6 dexterity and the boulders doing 100 per turn, I'm feeling pretty good to get through the fight now. Rolling boulder gets us through Act 1. All we needed was 2 of them for the boss battle. We are offered a nightmare, which will let us copy one of these footworks 3 additional times. If we get all of those in play, that will be 15 dexterity. Our Act 2 ancient is Darv, who offers us a runic pyramid. This will make it really easy to set up the nightmare footwork combo and retain all of our block for when we need it the most. Our Act 2 map has a forced elite. I've been trying to dodge elites up till this point. Relics aren't gonna do much to move the needle when we have to get through thousands of health for the end game. Our first fight of the act is a 400 health tunneler. Now that we're in Act 2, HP and block scaling is up to 4.8 times instead of 4.4. So everyone has a little more health, and the tunneler is blocking for over 150. It has a lot of block, but luckily it doesn't hit that hard and doesn't really scale, so we can just follow our plan, weaken it, and we're able to full block while getting our footwork in play. No need to nightmare footwork in this fight. 6 decks is plenty to wait it out. It takes us 18 turns, but we make it through with a clean tunneler fight. We skip the upgraded backflip. The card draw isn't as important anymore now that we have Runic Pyramid. We're gonna have hand clog problems. And we run into the hang run killers from earlier, the exoskeletons. Let's see if the rolling boulder fares any better. The exoskeletons scale pretty quickly, so I know I need to get this boulder in play right away. So we sacrifice a little bit of health here to get it off on turn 2. We get the first footwork in play. I'm hoping 6 dexterity is enough here, so I don't nightmare it. That would have cost us a lot of health if we don't use the potion. So I'm hoping 6 dex and some chip damage from the strikes will let us get through this fight. I decided to target the one that's scaled the most so far, and I'm hoping if I take one of them out, it'll let me last long enough here. We're able to full block the 40 damage turn, which is a very good sign. We're finally able to take the rightmost one out, and it's easy sailing from here. We take the Scare Plus. A few zero-cost cards are nice with Runic Pyramid, and we don't have any weakening sources other than Neutralize. So this seems very nice for our deck. I decided to use the energy potion here to get the boulder in play and also almost full block while getting a footwork in play. This should put us in a good position to finish this fight cleanly. The enemy has a downturn, so we get our first nightmare footwork off this fight. From there, we get through the rest of the fight cleanly. We skip the card reward and head to the first event of the act. We find the fake merchant, and we take all of his energy relics. Energy is very helpful for Runic Pyramid in general, and it'll help us play even more block cards as we get later in the game. The shop doesn't have too much to offer us, so we ditch one of the strikes and we pick up a duplication potion. We can do a similar thing we did for the ceremonial beast to get through the insatiable. I am slightly worried about insatiable because it takes us so many turns to get through boss fights that the status cards will start costing 3 or more very quickly. So we have to make sure we kill it fast enough before it eats us. We pick up a Centennial puzzle from the chest, and our event is a fight against the Obscura. This fight is a little sketchy. It'll take a while for the boulder to take out the minion, and we bottom deck the boulder. We get the first footwork in play and play the dodge and roll. We take 1 damage, but we set ourselves up for playing the boulder next turn when we draw it. And we sacrifice a little more health here to get the boulder in play. We take 5 damage, and these enemies are starting to scale. Nightmare is becoming more and more important as we get later in the run to scale our block enough to survive 600 health enemies. So we need to get that upgraded ASAP. Our fake happy flower gives us an extra energy this turn, which allows us to nightmare our footwork and also full block. Enemies are up to 6 strength now. We get a second footwork in play, and we're taking more damage here. We took so long to get the footworks off. Luckily we have the speed potion to minimize the damage taken here. The rest of the fight is clean. We full block the next turn and finally take out the minion. This gives us enough breathing room to play the rest of our footworks, and it's smooth from here. We're rewarded with a ghost in the jar, which is a nice backup in case something goes wrong at this elite. So we get the infested prism. I was definitely scared to see this one. The most recent rework, it does more damage for each skill you play. And if you notice, we've been playing a lot of skills, so I definitely wasn't sure how this was gonna go. Luckily, we got our boulder off turn 1. So now I'm hoping with all of our footworks in play, we'll be able to full block with only 1 or 2 skills. And then plan for the multi-attack turns with blur and dodge and roll. The prism follows a fixed 4-move cycle, so you can always plan for the whirlwind turn, which will hit the hardest if you're playing a lot of skills. The fake happy flower has been really nice with the pyramid and nightmare, giving us a chance to play it when normally we wouldn't be able to. So we're able to nightmare the footwork, and this should give us plenty of dex scaling to survive as the prism scales. We got both footworks in play, and we're able to set up a nice dodge and roll turn for the next whirlwind, so we're already full blocking without even playing any skills. The rest of the fight is clean. We make it through with 31 health in 22 turns, and we're offered an abrasive, which I decide to take. It's easy enough to play with Runic Pyramid. We just wait for Survivor in hand, and hopefully we pick up another source of discard. It's more dexterity, it's a little bit of damage with the thorns. And we finally get our nightmare upgraded. I made a mistake in this fight. I didn't realize the artifact count was wrong with this mod. In 4-player, I think these should have 5 artifacts, but they only have 2 here. Looking back through this fight, I don't think it actually made any difference. I think I was blocking plenty anyway, but I just wanted to call that out. I realize it's not completely accurate to 4-player in this fight. The chompers don't gain strength. Their main gimmick is adding 3 days to your discard pile every turn, but we mostly nullify that with the Runic Pyramid. We have plenty of cards in hand every turn anyway, so we have no problem getting through this fight with no damage taken, regardless of the artifact count. We finally get a chance to play the boulder after playing a few dodge and rolls, and it's smooth from here. We're offered dodge and roll plus or murder. I considered the murder for a while. I'm wondering if we need a little more damage against Insatiable. I'm still a little worried about that fight. We will draw a lot of cards over the course of 20 to 30 turns, but dodge and roll has been so good for us, and I think the dupe pot will be enough with the rolling boulder to survive the Insatiable. So I decided to go with dodge and roll here. We have some money to spend at the shop. I decided to go with war paint and card remove, which leaves us with 1 gold. Upgraded skills are great for this deck, obviously, and getting rid of another strike is also good. Deflect would have also been a good pickup here. I risk for safety at the campfire just in case we get a horrible draw order and we can't play the rolling boulder for some reason. I just knew we had to play it as soon as possible, so didn't want to take any risks. But we get double rolling boulder off turn 1. So now we have to wait for it to do 1,500 damage. That means we'll have to play these frantic escapes quite a few times. I was almost tempted to save my nightmare for a 1-cost frantic escape, but I figured we would be fast enough with double boulders to get away with nightmaring the footwork again. By turn 14, all of the frantic escapes were up till 2 costs, but we had 4 stacks of sandpick still. Our boulders were doing 150 damage a turn, so we made it through. We are rewarded with an adrenaline, which is great in this deck. More energy is pretty much all we need at this point. Maybe some more discard. Nonu gives us a choice between the diamond diadem and the fur coat. Brilliant Scarf doesn't do much for us here. It's a little hard for us to play 5 cards. But the fur coat was definitely tempting. The HP scaling is only increasing from here. So it's nice to get some free combats. But I knew the diadem was the right choice here. So that's what I ended up going with. For Act 3 pathing, my only concern is dodging elites. I do not want to fight the 3 knights. The one that makes all of your cards ethereal will delete my entire deck with Runic Pyramid by the time Rolling Boulder kills all of them. Our first fight of the act is against the Devoted Sculptor, and wow, I was not ready for how hard this fight is for this deck. This guy scales really fast, and they have 800 health. On turn 2, they get 9 Ritual, which means they get 9 Strength every single turn. A lot of our fights have been going 14, 15 turns at the end of Act 2. So, if you do the math, that's over 100 Strength this Sculptor will be getting. And we don't get the Boulder down until turn 3. Our boulder is doing 15 damage, and the cultist is already doing 30 to us on turn 4. I decided to use the Cure All potion here while I'm still getting set up. I was hoping to draw into our 0-cost weakening, which we're able to do with Backflip. So we fully block this turn, and we set up 3 turns of weakening while we're getting the rest of these footwork set up. The Sculptor is up to 36 strength by the time we get the last 2 footworks in play. But we're still able to full block here. Perfect block, and we set up 22 block for next turn as well. Skipping forward a few turns, the Sculptor's up to 72 strength, and you can start to see the power of the diadem here, reducing the attacks in half. So I'm gonna start playing 2 cards per turn now, and with this much dex, it's enough to full block. Skipping forward some more, they're up to 117 strength, hitting me for 126 before the weekend, and we just straight up full block it, and we have 48 block for the next turn as well. We're getting hit for 138, which is no problem. We actually make it through this fight without taking damage. And we're rewarded with another dodge and roll. At the shop, we don't have a ton of money. We don't have a shop to end the act either, so I'm just looking for another potion to hopefully save for the queen. Our second fight of the act is the turret and shield. I get boulder off turn 1 and use a potion so we don't lose any health. I'm a little cautious about losing health this early. We have a lot of fights before any campfires, so I just use the potion for safety here, and the rest of the fight is pretty smooth. We're definitely taking another blur plus here. We don't have any shops the rest of the act, so we take the uncommon potion to fill our last potion slot. Our next fight is the owl. This one's also pretty straightforward. We get our boulder in play, we nightmare the footworks, and we get out without losing any health. No need to take any of these cards. We still don't really have many discards for untouchable. And we have to give up one of our potions. I feel like the liquid bronze is the worst out of the 3. The chest gives us an anchor for 10 block on turn 1. And we go into our next fight against the fabricator. We get boulder down turn 1. You know the deal. This enemy spawns a lot of summons, but we're not worried about the dazes, and we're blocking plenty with the footworks and diadem. We do lose a bit of health on this turn before we get all of the footworks in play, but we're able to finish the rest of the fight without any more health loss. We have enough dodge and rolls at this point. I skipped that one. Next fight is the axe bots. Nothing really to see here. They don't hit very hard. We can outscale them easily with the footworks. We finally get a prepared, an awesome discard card. It's nice going into Queen 2 to be able to cycle bound cards. And we get our adrenaline upgraded. I don't have much else to say about this deck. Please enjoy this boulder montage. The queen and the minion both have strong multi-hit attacks, so we pick up a piercing wail. Our last stop before the queen is a shop. We replace our useless potion for a dex potion because we definitely didn't have enough dexterity. At the final campfire, we upgrade our abrasive, and that leaves one fight left. With over 3,000 health combined, can our boulder do it? We nightmare the footwork. We play the footwork. We play the other footwork. Our nightmare creates 3 more footworks and we play the boulder. We play footwork number 3 and number 4 and our 5th and final footwork. The minion can't handle the power of the boulder and falls on turn 19. Now it's a 1 versus 1. Queen versus boulder. Who will win? I think we've proven today that Rolling Boulder is the best card in Slay the Spire 2. Thanks for watching.